Welcome to the Dr. Detective A PhD True Crime Podcast, the show where we bring you critical assessment based on experience. We add to episode 26 today. We're going to talk about the Hatchet attack. Again, this took place out of Fargo, North Dakota, and we'll get right into the story. Again, you can find us on thedoctordetective.net, the website. Also find our channel on YouTube. Please share, like, and subscribe. Also, we're on Spotify streaming, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and Audible. So you can find us on YouTube, the YouTube channel. If you go to the website, please go to the podcast link and subscribe on any one of the pictures there. Just click and join in. Try an episode out and see if you enjoy. So thanks for watching. Again, this episode is episode 26 out of Fargo, North Dakota. Took place September 5th of this year. And police get a call, a 911 call to be specific, to the location here. It comes from a unattached garage in the 700 block of College Street North. So essentially, police arrived to the location. This is a garage that is unattached, kind of separate from other structures in the area. And upon arrival, they hear and learn that a man had been attacked with a hatchet. Again, a gruesome discovery. Upon their approach, they see a blood trail leading up to the garage. So police respond there and find this individual that had been assaulted. The victim in question was Jonathan Granados, in his mid-40s. So he was treated at the hospital. He actually survived the attack, by the way. Survived the attack, and he helped to identify the suspect at this time. So Jonathan Granados is attacked. As it stands, there's another witness present that witnessed the attack, and they were actually sleeping in this location. So there's a witness that chose not to be named. The suspect, or person of interest, we'll talk about her shortly, and the victim. So the witness stated he was staying with this couple, sleeping in this garage, and the suspect is supposedly homeless. Right, we'll get into her information shortly. So the witness wakes up just screaming in the garage, and he tells police what he witnessed and said that they knew each other. They were actually dating. So this is not a random act that took place. This was not a random attack. They interview the witness, and he says the person of interest is the victim's girlfriend. That is the victim's girlfriend. She is described as Lena de Oliveira, right? So 23-year-old female. She goes on the run. The witness stated that these two were dating. So this was a boyfriend-girlfriend scenario. We don't have additional details about their relationship, but they knew each other. And the unfortunate part, and the most horrific part of this, is that the victim was attacked while he was sleeping. This took place roughly around 5:30 a.m., 5 o'clock a.m., somewhere within the hour time frame. So he's sleeping, Jonathan Granados, and Lena attacks him with a hatchet. This is stated by witnesses. And the victim was also awake, being treated, and identified her. So she took off prior to police arriving. Obviously, she had at some point fell asleep and was out of it or unconscious, woke up, saw the blood, saw what she had done, or realized what she had done, and took off. She must have had some kind of blackout, maybe due to the trauma, or we don't know the full story. But again, she attacked her boyfriend while he's sleeping. So he's literally hit in the head with a hatchet, and he had some injuries to his hands also, most likely defensive wounds, it sounds like. So the person of interest and wanted person at that time was Lena de Oliveira, 23-year-old female, about 5'7", 130 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. And she goes on the run for 2 days. Again, police put out a post and bolo of interest. So she was taken into custody 2 days later. This happened again Friday, September 5th, roughly 5:39 a.m. They respond to the scene. There's that aggravated assault in the 700 block of College Street North, Fargo, North Dakota, and they located the male victim with injuries, Jonathan Granados. So again, talking with witnesses, she's identified by the witness and the victim that was injured. So again, she goes on the run. She's captured 2 days later in another location. At the time of the incident, they put this posting out. But the graphic details, again, we'll try to be as discreet as possible. But witnesses said when he looked, he woke up to screaming, and then he looks and he saw Lena swinging down with a hatchet. He couldn't see the point of the strike due to things, obstruction, the lighting, and so forth, but he heard what sounded like the splitting of wood. So he initially thinking, hear screaming, initially thinking she's hitting some kind of headrest or headboard, when in fact it was the head of the victim. The witness said he believed there were 2 strikes because when he approached Granados after the attack, it looked like 1 or 2 of his fingers were missing or kind of hanging. That was noted in the police report. So the witness also stated he saw blood and a mark through Johnny's skull. He calls him Johnny. So Jonathan Granados has an injury to the head and to his hands or fingers, as reported by witnesses. This witness also told police he suspected that Lena de Oliveira was out of it, but she came to when she heard the click from the couch's footrest and or saw the blood. She flees the scene. She's apprehended 2 days later. So this witness stayed present. He stuck around for the police and advised him what he saw, what he heard, what he'd seen, and who was responsible. So she was identified also by the victim. Again, to survive that attack, he's pretty lucky. Mr. Granados was treated at the hospital and transported, where he still survived the injuries. But Jonathan Granados told police, "I was sleeping and then just attacked without warning." So he's attacked by his girlfriend. We don't know any other details as far as, what took place. Was there a fight prior? Was this from some prior injury? Or was she even assaulted? We don't know at the time. We'll take a look at her jail picture upon booking and see. Maybe they will report later. So we'll do some additional follow-up on this story here. But Mr. Granados is very lucky. He's at the hospital, said he was attacked without warning. Upon that arrest 2 days later, Lena de Oliveira is brought to the Cass County Jail where she is booked in. And upon her booking, this is her jail photo upon booking. She's clearly got a smile on her face, which looks very, very strange or very unusual. I don't want to say demented, but you be the judge of her face and how she looks, right? So very odd. Kind of reminds me of a horror film or horror movie. Maybe that movie Smile, I don't know, which I've never seen. But she's got a big smile. She looks, I guess, kind of happy. And I don't want to use the word satisfied, but she's clearly standing against a wall there. And as you can see, they're measuring her height and so forth and booking her in. They take an additional photo of her front and side view for booking purposes, part of their protocol and processes. So again, she's booked in. She talks with detectives. They attempt to interview her. And guess what she says? "I need my lawyer." So again, detectives attempted to get some kind of statement, maybe additional details or background as far as what happened, what took place. And she lawyers up. So we'll see what kind of plea she enters. She goes to appear for the judge October 16th. And we'll see what kind of plea she enters. Maybe she'll talk, maybe not. Maybe we'll get some additional details and we may dial back to the story. But as far as we know right now, Lena attacked Jonathan, her boyfriend, and went on the run for 2 days. She's apprehended, and clearly in her jail photo, she is maybe even suffering from some kind of mental health issue. Not quite sure. We don't know if she's on medication. We don't know what the background is. We don't know if there are prior incidents or prior assaults from either party or between them. But she lawyers up. She appears in court initially on the 12th for arraignment, and she was charged with attempted unaliving and aggravated assault at that time. So the attempt to unalive Jonathan Granados by Lena De Oliveira and aggravated assault. Her next court date set for October 16th. So we'll see what happens. We'll dial back to this. So again, the question is, looking at the two photos in comparison here, what is her mental health status? Is there some kind of mental health component that maybe ties into the reason for this attack? Again, prior to her booking, this is a photo that was distributed and obtained maybe in a previous, maybe from a previous uh, jail picture or what have you. Looks like similar backgrounds, but on any occasion, this is the same individual. Two different expressions, maybe even two different time frames in terms of ages and so forth. But that is Lena in both pictures. So a question about mental health, right? So there's always some kind of component that we want to identify or maybe learn something from. So we know that Lena, was homeless and sleeping at various locations. She was sleeping at the time of the attack in this unattached garage or detached garage with the boyfriend and this other gentleman that was a witness. He became a witness. So the question I have is homelessness and mental health. Are there some correlations or capacities or contrasting to identify if this in fact is the case, right? This could have been some kind of sudden fit or provocation, or some other kind of situation or scenario that prompted her to attack Jonathan. We don't know. But again, looking at some of the data and research, a majority of people experiencing homelessness have mental health disorders with a current prevalence of about 67% and a lifetime prevalence of about 77%. Among those affected, common conditions include substance abuse disorders around 44%, major depression about 19%, and schizophrenia about 7%. We don't know if this is the case, but we're just looking at some data and some statistics. Got tongue tied there. Statistics. We're looking at that. So trying to determine if there's a correlation or not. So some of the data says the high rates highlight a significant need for accessible evidence-based programs that address both homelessness and the mental health issues. Again, it's a persistent public health challenge. So 17 of every 10,000 people experience homelessness on a single night. That was out of 2018. 20% reported having severe mental illness, and about 15.5% reported chronic substance abuse. So it could be a hybrid of all the above. Again, we're not putting them in this category or assuming that there was some kind of substance abuse use. Just looking at some of the data that's reported out there. These are several pictures of different camps that exist in Fargo. Again, different individuals, and there's been some other laws enacted and enforcement to consider the homelessness problem and where people camp out, because they kind of camp by the wooded areas or by the river. Again, that's kind of a common situation or scenario. We have those issues here in Ohio. There's been enforcement to try to get the camps moved and so forth. But with this situation, Fargo's implementing different care centers. There's a new life center, and they've highlighted by the area maps here, the areas of concern where homelessness is prevalent and some of the hot spots here to address the issue. So there's budgeting in place and funding being secured. But one thing I want to also share, as always, some kind of education or some kind of assistance, some kind of component to help those that might be in need, or if you know someone, refer them to the hotline number. So there's a lifeline for suicide crisis hotline, whatever the case is. If there's depression or substance abuse or just homelessness, or they just want someone to talk to, right? 988 is a number to dial. That is a national number. So they're there to listen, to help with problems, maybe some kind of referral to different agencies, whether it's depression, stress, anxiety, drug, alcohol use, or just for a loved one. It's free and confidential. Again, share the number. You can text the number. You can talk with them, actually call them, or just text simply remain some kind of anonymity or be anonymous, right? In your reporting, in your conversation. So share the number, spread the word, talk with them. So there's always hope. Again, um, not saying this contributed to what took place. We do know it was reported that Lena was homeless, right, at the time of the incident. And she'd been sleeping at different locations, different empty locations, maybe even in some of the camps and so forth. So, what is their current situation status? We don't really know. But again, the hotline number for crisis is 988, or the chat 988lifeline.org. 988lifeline.org. Again, share the number. As I mentioned, Fargo, North Dakota, they are working out of the mayor's office to consider a $211 million bill to fund homelessness solutions. So they have a downtown engagement center. They've established the new life daycare day center in terms of, maybe when it gets colder, bringing people in off of the street. I know our mayor here in Akron does that. They open different centers and different agencies provide support for people that are homeless, and they get in out of the cold, right? Not every location or state has the same kind of climate or conditions, but some have more homelessness uh, gatherings and groups than others. So again, there are efforts to try to help or offer some kind of support. But back to Lena and Jonathan, we don't know the nature of their relationship. It was reported they were boyfriend, girlfriend, as far as we know. Again, by the way, find us on the doctordetective.net. Go to the website. Again, check out the podcast. Go check out the website. Look at the books that have been published, more to come, and look at the background. So, again, find us on Spotify, YouTube channel, Apple Podcasts, and so forth. But again, back to their relationship. So, maybe some additional details will come forward or be discovered as far as, what took place or what happened in their situation and their relationship. Again, we can only speculate right now, but knowing that there was an attack that took place with a hatchet, um, Lena will have to answer for that. And we'll see what comes of the next court case, October 16th. Again, she was just in court yesterday, October 12th, and more to come. So we'll dial back to the story here. As always, please share, like, and subscribe. This is a Dr. Detective, a PhD true crime podcast. As always, thanks for watching. Again, share, inform, and thank you. Can't make these stories up, right? Just can't make them up. Thanks.